7. Welcome. It's Democracy Day today. Today, June 12th, is now Democracy Day. It replaces May 29. Now, these two dates remind us of our collective struggle in relation to democracy as a form of government. But these two dates cannot both lay claim to marking democracy at the same time. And that leaves us with the option of deciding which is more important. While May 29 has its importance in the commitment of the military to returning the country to democratic rule, a promise and a commitment it kept and actually delivered democracy and inaugurated a democratically elected government to run the country, June 12th's importance is basically about the price the country paid for democracy. Lives were lost and the country was without a clear-cut national direction, all because an election that was widely considered free and fair and won by a man was annulled for reasons that are still unclear to this day. So the big question is if it is a wise national decision that preference is given to June 12 over May 29 by the government at the centre. My name is Paul Aby, and I've got in the studios Barrister Stanley Damabide, a lawyer based in Yenego, as well as God Bless Mike, a political scientist and analyst, to do in-depth analysis of this most important day, the making of June 12 as democracy, its justification and significance. You're welcome to the program.
Happy Democracy Day, Paul.
Happy Democracy Day to you.
Thank you, my brothers.
All right. Yesterday, I did same program, same topic for discussion. It was an interactive one between the listener and I, and largely almost all of the calls were like it was a bad decision, or it is still a bad decision that Democracy Day has been shifted from May 29 to June 12. What's your reaction to this national decision?
Good morning, Paul.
Yep, good morning, sir.
Yeah, I think that a celebration is all about what you intend to get, your vision. Actually, we had a very terrible past in our quest to enthrone democracy in Nigeria. I could remember at a time our late sage Gani Fawemi was always with his marks. Madeco members were always incarcerated. And I think that it expresses the fact that the past was terrible. We had a very terrible antecedent with regard to our quest to enthrone democracy. Yeah, they had a vision. Those who actually fought for it, they had a vision. What is a vision? I think that in some, I will borrow the Latin word, sonum bonum, greatest happiness for the greatest number. Are we happy today? And so, by my view, I want to say that, yeah, our variance of democracy today is a travesty of even the word democracy. We've not actually achieved anything apart from the cosmetic effect of celebrating. And that's my view.
I've actually wanted you to choose between the 2 days, which is more important to the country. That's between May 29 and June 12.
I think that I've answered the question.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, let me get back to Barrister.
For him, it's none of the above.
Okay, all right.
That's my interpretation.
Okay.
But let me say quickly that declaring June 12 Democracy Day suits the narrative of this president. It was a political masterstroke, if you'll ask me. And I want us to first of all look at it from that angle of politics. I said it suits the narrative of this president because, firstly, June 12 produced a supposed villain and a supposed hero. The hero, MKO Abiola. The villain, of course, the president that annulled June 12, the person of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. Now, if you know the relationship between this president and IPP, you will know that there is clearly no love lost between them. And so, you know, declaring June 12th and making it a day that Nigerians will continue to reflect on what happened with regards to that election will continue to make IBB appear the villain that he is. And I think that suits that President Buhari thinks he is. And I think that suits his narrative. And I'm taking it further. General Obasanjo also had the opportunity of, making something out of June 12th. He did it. And he said, no, I'd rather choose the day I was inaugurated as president to declare as that democracy day. Again, shifting it is spiting um, Obasanjo, and that also suits the current president. And I'm taking it further. With June 12th, President Buhari was able to endear himself a little more to the people of Western Nigeria. And so, generally, looking at that trend, it suits the desired narrative of the president.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wanted to ask.
There's a lot of
that this decision was politically motivated and has
Yes.
nothing to do with Nigeria or the realities of Nigeria.
No, I wouldn't say that, frankly.
All right.
I would say that that was the starting point.
Okay.
But moving from there is this question that you've thrown before us. And let me tell you this. A friend told me this, when we're discussing, and I agree with him, that it is wrong to choose the date that a new governor or a president will be taking over from another as a public holiday and as your democracy day. Now, why do I say that? A public holiday is supposed to be a day that people are to be resting, and not working, as it were. But the day that a new government is taking over should not only be the day that, people should be at their desks, preparing and trying to see how the new system will come on board.
It should be the first working day of the new president.
Exactly. So it is, in fact, as a matter of fact, the chief judge or the chief justice of Nigeria doesn't observe that public holiday. They are at work. The new president, members in the seat of government, so to say, are at work on that day. So what kind of public holiday are we talking about? To me, it doesn't make real business sense for us to choose the date that government will be changing hands and declare that as a public holiday. We're supposed to be working and preparing for the new system to begin. That is my take with regards to that angle. Now, June 12th. I heard most of your callers yesterday, and I think there is a big misconception. June 12th is not all about MKO Abiola.
Okay.
It's about us Nigerians that decided for once that we'll put religion, we'll put tribe and all other sentiments aside and decide freely and fairly to elect someone to be our president. You won't believe it, the records have it that Bashir Tofa from Kano State lost in Kano State to Abiola.
Okay.
That's the kind of dream politics we want to see in this country, where merit as against sentiments will prevail. And Nigerians spoke in one voice then. And what, June 12th symbolizes is the fact that at a time in our nation, we're clear in our heads, we set aside sentiments, whether religious or ethnic, to say, look, this is how we want our democracy to be. And I think choosing that day, though in my opinion, initially politically motivated, is good for our senses. Year in, year out, our children will ask, why June 12th? And we'll tell them this is what happened that day. And this is how we want you to grow our democracy up to. This is how we want you to play our politics. It is good for our psyche. It is good for our senses. It is good as, a benchmark, a reference point for us to see how we want to define our democracy. And I'm in total support of this, irrespective of the political sentiments that could have been behind it.
But because you started your point with the victors and the valiants, the main actors in June 12 and all of that,
Yes.
Let me ask, do you believe in what General IBB said concerning the annulment of June 12, that it was to protect national interest that decision was taken, that there is intelligence to that decision, that if that election was not annulled, Nigeria would have disintegrated.
For God's sake, some of our leaders think we are daft. And that's why I get angry with some of our leaders. Look, that you occupy that position today doesn't mean you have more brains than some of the persons that you are
We're
leading.
talking about intelligence,
Yes,
intelligence
yes.
reports.
No, what intelligence report will be against, the collective decision of the people of Nigeria? What intelligence report will be that? As a matter of fact, it was the annulment that almost led to the disintegration of this country. People were just being selfish and inconsiderate of the wishes, the desires, and aspirations of their people, and then they just try to get justification. I was in the university then, my early years, and I knew what we suffered, not because of the June 12th election, but because of the annulment of the process. There is no sense in what was said, frankly, because intelligence cannot be contrary to reality. The reality then contradicts what IBB said then. That is just the truth.
Let me return to God bless. Making June 12th Democracy Day, in my thinking, was to honor the sacrifices made by lots and lots of Nigerians. Some paid with their lives.
Yeah, supreme prize.
Yeah.
I consider all that as being cosmetic because it doesn't actually contribute. It does not produce any quantum leap in our daily life. Governance is all about creating the greatest happiness for the greatest number. June 12th, quite cosmetic. It doesn't produce anything. We end up, yeah, people made sacrifices. And I think that with the level we are going, should be something that should be a thing of regret because that wasn't the vision of those who actually fought for it.
But making June 12th Democracy Day, the dead, wherever they are, they feel a little bit pleased that, yeah, their sacrifices have been recognized at last.
Declaring June 12th does not actually mean that they have realized their vision. No, it doesn't mean so. It only reminds them of what they went through. What would have added value would have been good governance, commitment to the protection of the lives of the people, the security of the people. Now there is no security in this country. We are celebrating. What an oxymoron. Celebrating insecurity?
Oh, well, let's. I really wanted you to. Okay, let's get back to May 29. The relevance with respect to May 29 is that the military gave a promise. They promised the country that they were going to return the country to a democracy, to a democratically led country, administration, whichever you put it. And they kept their word. So in some way, May 29's relevance or importance would be that the military stayed away from running of the country. Isn't that, to some extent, worthy of celebration?
I think that is a mere change of nomenclature from the military junta to civilian.
They could have kept on running the country.
Obasanjo, I think that is even the same thing. Obasanjo was a military man. We don't actually, I have argued here that our own variant is a travesty of the word democracy. We've not actually practiced this. Is a very new brand of democracy that is not known anywhere. It's still the military ruling us. Buhari was a general. Obasanjo was a general.
I'm surprised you're not interested in picking either date. But you would have made my task a little bit easier if you had said, okay, I prefer
except you are telling me to.
I'm not forcing you.
No,
but between these two.
No, except you are telling me to express the level of some level of contradiction within my argument. I have said that, look, what is on ground is not enough to celebrate. And so I am not in support of either of the dates. It does not make any significant progress in our life. It's cosmetic. It's face value analysis. And that is why I'm taking it from a pejorative level. That from a pejorative level and a level of analysis, It shows that this is an ordinary change of nomenclature, of the form of government. That nothing significant has been changed. Yes, that's my
Would you
argument.
like to come in, Barrister?
Well, what God bless Micah is saying is that, you know, if you don't have money, for example, why celebrate your birthday? I mean, you don't have money, so there's nothing to celebrate. Or if your marriage has not reached the level that you want it to, why mark its anniversary? But I think it's a little beyond that. Even though I can understand and relate to this position, that if we talk about democracy, we must see the fruits to celebrate it. But I think we can take it from the other angle also. If we talk
Okay,
about
from the social angle.
no, yes, and
From
the
the
angle
social
of
angle.
optimism. I mean, if you talk about democracy, you have the structures that should ordinarily make your democracy functioning, and they are not functioning. And you have this day set aside, to mark democracy, especially this day that reminisces or brings to the fore certain feelings about how you as a nation tried to get it right with democracy. I think that could be a galvanizing factor. It could be a time for you to rethink the whole year, one day, and then you ask questions like God bless Micah is asking, are we getting it right with our democracy? So, observing that kind of day will help our psyche. It is not necessarily capturing the fact that we've arrived with regards to the quality of democracy that one should be having. No. But then it could be a day to reflect, to take stock and analyze how far your democracy has grown. And to that extent, it is good for us. If you do not have any day at all, it's like not even planning to see how changes can be effected. And I think that will be worse for the psyche of this nation. So, it's okay to have that day. And I think June 12th as against May 29th is apt because it's symbolizes a lot of positives with regards to a behavioral pattern, politically speaking. Now, a presidential candidate losing in his state against somebody that is not even from his region. That is the kind of, because merit and not any other factor was at the fore. That's the dream we have for this nation. And I think, in my opinion, yes, some things are wrong.
All
It's
we are
best for
saying the
us.
same thing. When he started by saying that all was motivated politically, and when you are talking of politics, we are talking about probably just to create the impression that we are performing and probably to get that support from a section of the society who perhaps in the past had that kind of injustice. And so it does not actually speak volume of a commitment to solving our problems. What is on ground is not a show of commitment to solving our problems. All this morning I had to tell my son, he feel jam, UNN. This one I have to go and change because between here and UNN, the road is not safe. You cannot be going to school in UNN now. I gave him money this morning. Go and change, make a change. That tells much about the situation we have found ourselves. I did my master's in UN in 2003. It was safe.
God bless you. You're painting a picture of Nigeria as though it's hopeless,
Hopeless, yes.
and
I'm not saying hopeless. I'm talking about the situation on ground.
But I
We didn't even
think
Port Harcourt-
as
Port Harcourt
humans,
and
it's only
Yele.
when we are in celebratory moods that we will continue, that will begin to attract
Okay.
all the things that will make us to be
Okay.
continue to
Then-
be
then-
in celebratory mood.
Then declare every day celebration.
For him, there shouldn't be Happy New Year even. Yes. Why?
No,
Except
no.
you made so much money in the previous year.
No.
That's when. No, it's actually the
That
Happy New Year thing is to say.
that is not suitable. That your analogy is not suitable.
How did I fail last
It's
year?
not suitable because we are talking about life and we are talking about improvement in your standard of living.
Yeah.
These are two different things. If you survive a year, it's enough for you to celebrate that. Look, I have opportunity to strive. But this one we are talking about somebody causing, changes in society.
And that's exactly why I would like to say that for democracy to continue to flourish in the country, even though it has